Phoenotopia Awakening is a remake of a Flash game released in 2014. The game has clear inspiration from titles such as Zelda 2 and Metroid, and tells the story of a young girl named Gale who's on an epic journey. If this sounds too familiar, I can assure you that there are more unique elements to it than I could fit into this intro. Phoenotopia takes place on Earth after a great war led humans to move underground. A long time after that, they have made their way back to the surface. However, their past has become a mystery to them. The story begins when Gale, a girl living on an orphanage in the village, has to gather the kids for supper. This small task is but the start of a long adventure that will take her to all sorts of places. It's no exaggeration to say that the fate of the world rests on her shoulders. Inspired by classic games, Phoenotopia uses a retro pixel art style. Instead of being fueled purely on nostalgia, it becomes an endearing rendition thanks to the diversity of environments and its use of colors. There's absolutely no doubt to this game's quality, and the details found in the area's multiple layers are impressive as they make the world feel expansive. The lighting also changes, contributing to the atmosphere of the entire experience. Gameplay-wise, Phoenotopia is an action-adventure with Metroidvania systems. There's an overworld akin to Zelda 2 thanks to the constant spawning of enemies, which are even fought in a 2D platforming screen based on the tile that you're on. The map features areas of interest, which are typically dungeons and towns. In dungeons, the players are thrown into a side-scroller platforming segments that feature puzzles and enemies to deal with, while the village segments feature the same viewpoint. They are all mostly peaceful areas with NPCs to talk to and get quests from. In their home village, players will gain access to their first weapon. Nothing too impressive, just a bat that can be upgraded later on. There are also important sub-items such as a slingshot, a flute, bombs, and a spear. Each is necessary to solve puzzles and advance, but most offer value from combat. When it comes to fighting, mechanics can become an issue. The basic attacks are particularly unimpressive, and there's a weird thing that makes the character not change directions while moving. Being hit causes a substantial knockback, which is often annoying, even with the technique that allows the player to land properly and reduce its impact. Another issue is how the game's difficulty options are just small variables. There's a setting marked as accessibility options, which can be altered at any time and include making invincibility frames come after 2 consecutive hits instead of 3, and spending no energy to use basic weapons. But even in the easiest setting, this game can still be considerably challenging. One of the contributors to the game's challenge is the positioning of checkpoints. They're sparse, so being killed will often mean redoing entire dungeons from the beginning. Conversations, puzzles, and enemies are reset since your only option is to reload a save. It's possible to use food obtained from enemies or buy them in stores to restore some health. There are also 2 minigames related to food, the first being fishing and the other cooking, which changes the mill's properties. In towns, it's also possible to rest at inns to regain health, but in the field, you'll be limited to items you have in stock. Inventory space is also very limited in the beginning. After some grinding though, you'll be able to have enough coins to purchase extra pockets. Exploration is rewarded during gameplay with extra hearts, energy gems, and many new items, along with ways to upgrade your already existing ones. The amount of side content is a significant part of the adventure, given that the main story only makes up about 1/5 of the content. This content comes in a few different forms, such as speaking with NPCs, initiating side quests, using items to reach previously unreachable places, defeating extra enemies, and expanding your arsenal, all of which are integral parts of the experience. I should also mention that the soundtrack really contributes to the feeling of the adventure, be it the tranquil waves of walking through towns or the epic grandeur of tense boss battles. It perfectly nails the atmosphere. After completing the game, I feel like this was only the beginning of Gale's story, but it doesn't feel like it was forced to stop suddenly. In fact, this is a fully fledged journey of Gale's growth as she discovers more about the world she lives in. Even with room for a sequel, I don't feel like anything is missing, as it could very well just be a standalone experience, and I'd be happy with it. Phoenotopia Awakening is a grand adventure with a heart just as large. It wears its influences on its sleeve, but the team's passion is consistently visible and unabashed. There are some gameplay hiccups, and balance for newcomers is more on the unfriendly side. Still, it's no doubt a must-play adventure for anyone seeking a classic action-adventure game experience. Noisy Pixel is giving Phoenotopia Awakening an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Please read the full review at noisypixel.net. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers who work hard to deliver news, reviews, previews, and more. Please subscribe to keep up with all our feature content.